So here we are with the Libra new moon. It is taking place in just a few hours. You can see in the chart here the sun and the moon together at 28 degrees of Libra. And I want to speak to this energy, to the Libra energy, maybe offer a different perspective for this new moon and for Libra season. So we've been moving through Libra season, right? We're at the very end of it. The sun's about to move into the sign of Scorpio. And this new moon is at almost the last degree of Libra. It's at 28 degrees. 29 is the very last aneretic degree of this sign. And so it is like the fullest expression, the fullest embodiment of the Libra energy. And so I just want to offer this a different perspective because that is what I'm a Libra, and that is what Libras are known for, offering different perspectives and being able to see a different side, every side of everything. And so it's just a fun thought experiment to play with in our minds, to think about relationship, right? So as we've moved through Libra season, what have you learned about relationship? Each season holds a different energy, right? We're moving through Libra season, then it'll be Scorpio. Scorpio's very different energy than Libra. And so we've had about a month of working with this Libra energy. So what realizations have you had in relationship within your life? What realizations have come through around partnerships, relationships of all kinds? Libra represents how we interact with other humans, how we come together and do the dance with another human, whether it's an intimate relationship, a monogamous, marriage relationship for your whole lifetime. It doesn't matter. Libra is just about the quality of our relationships. And so inviting in a different perspective, like when we think about relationship and what it needs to look like, I feel with this new moon, it's really offering us a new perspective on relationship and the healing that can take place in relationship. I mean, relationship is the most potent container that we have for healing and for growth and for self-actualization and for learning how to love. And with this new moon, we can see Chiron, the wounded healer, this wounded part within all of us. We all have Chiron somewhere in our chart. It's also shaped like a key, so it's our ability to heal this wound, but it's in direct conversation with this new moon. It's directly opposing it. It's, two opposite ends of the spectrum kind of battling it out. And then we have Jupiter here that's making this big T-square. So it can feel like some internal tension. It can feel like kind of bouncing around from these three, different extremes. And there is a lot of healing energy that is available to us. It could feel a little bit painful, a little bit triggering at times. Maybe it's needing to have hard conversations, but through that, through touching the wound, through working with the pain, we heal, we grow. It is shaped like a key for a reason. But yes, with this new moon, offering the perspective of viewing relationships in a new light, taking responsibility for our part in relationship, right? I think so often we blame other people and just, project our shit onto others and don't want to take responsibility for our role in the relationship. And we need to remember that Libra is an air sign, right? It's not an emotional energy necessarily. It's not a water sign. It's an air sign. So it's more connected to our mind and wanting to understand things and, maybe understand the relationship dynamics and all the different ways that it can play out. And it's too much like in the mind, kind of tying the mind in knots. And with this new moon, it's really offering this opportunity to see relationship from a new perspective, to be very aware of how we can project things in relationships, how we project our stuff onto other people. And it's like taking responsibility for ourselves. There's an emotional maturation with this new moon. Because despite, this opposition that we have here, we have a really beautiful aspect with this grand water trine that is forming between Saturn that represents emotional maturation, kind of taking responsibility. It's forming a trine here to Jupiter in Cancer, and then down here with Mars and Mercury that are in Scorpio. So this beautiful grand water trine is kind of taking place underneath the surface. And so there is a lot of magic that is happening. Water energy represents that. It is fluid. It's our imagination, it's emotions. It is like a connection to higher realms, to the divine. And so it's an aspect of taking responsibility for ourselves, taking responsibility for our relationships and the quality of relationships in our lives, really looking at our views on relationships. What do we expect in relationship? Are we giving what we expect to receive in relationship? And again, just offering a different perspective of, we've been, prescribed and sold this model of relationship can only look one kind of way. It can only be, whatever, however we've been prescribed that it should look, the marriage between a man and a woman, committed, monogamous. There's a million ways that relationships can look, and it's really just about the agreement with the people in the relationship. So to expand our view on how relationships can show up in our life, and being grateful being grateful for the humans in our life. If everybody could learn the art of communication, the art of relationship that is truly Libra at its highest expression, the beauty, the harmony, the compromise, the justice, the fairness, the removing the emotion and being able to see things from the other person's perspective. Literally, it is the sign that allows themselves to be put into another person's shoes and see things from another perspective. If we could all do that, when we come together with another person and when we exit with another person, when the chapter is closed, if we can thank them, and enter it with grace and exit it with grace, and being less, attached and controlling of that person in the relationship. Can you imagine how all the relationships of the world would be so different, and our relationship to partnership would completely shift? And so, yes, at the very least, I want to extend a new perspective and just thinking about relationships in a new light, and that it could be so much more, and we could really just celebrate them and honor them for what they are, without trying to change them or fit it into a certain kind of box or make it look a certain way, just honoring it for what it is and for what it taught you at that time. Thanking the human for the other human that you're in relationship with for doing the dance with you for whatever period of time it lasted. And in the previous video, I talked a lot about the Sabian symbols for this new moon in Libra, and the Sabian symbol of 28, 29 degrees of Libra, the energy, the picture that degree and that sign paints, is really the epitome of the Libra energy that is about evolution. It's about growth. It's about evolving the mind, the intellect, understanding things from a new perspective, sharing wisdom. And so the Sabian symbol, as I shared previously, is about involvement in humanity's evolution of wisdom. So we take from our ancestors and pass to our descendants, and thus co-create the flowing and flowering of knowledge, seeking knowledge. So Libra at its highest expression wants to share this knowledge, wants to share wisdom, wants to share their experiences, wants to have a conversation. The air signs represent the art of communication, and it truly is an art to be able to go back and forth with another person, to hear another person, to truly hear another person without thinking about how you're going to respond, just sitting there and hearing them, whether you believe in their perspective or not. Being able to hear another person and respect another human enough to hear their beliefs and to hear their perspective. And Libra does this the best. Can I say the best? I don't know. I'm a Libra, so maybe I can. So yes, that is a little bit about this new moon in Libra. I hope that this is helpful and supports you in working with this energy and offers you a new perspective to view relationship and to view this time that we're moving through, in a new light. So taking the last day of Libra season, here we are with this new moon. New moon, new beginnings, planting new seeds, starting something new. We're starting a new chapter in regards to relationships and our values and what's important to us. We've changed throughout the season, hopefully, right? Hopefully we're changing and we're growing and we're learning through every season. And so we've done work throughout this season around relationships, whatever that looks like for you. Figure out what house it's in within your birth chart. Where is Libra in your birth chart? What house is 28, 29 degrees of Libra falling in? Well, I hope everybody has a beautiful Libra new moon, a beautiful new beginning and new start in regards to how we view relationship, our perspective and perception on relationship, maybe what we expect in relationship, how we move towards partnership of all kinds, friendships, relationships, business partnerships, all the ways that we relate to another human would fall under the Libra category. So yes, again, I hope that this is helpful and supports you. And as always, I'm available for readings. I will leave my site here if you would like to connect with me.